Live from Los Angeles. Welcome back to Good Morning, La La Land. Part of our wealth is definitely our freedom of choice. And we're here talking with Catherine Falk. You may know her famous father from Colombo. And we're talking about equality and our rights as human beings. We're talking about the Falk bill. Tell us a little bit about that. How are you?
Nice. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah.
I draft legislation all over the country, and I'm also working on a federal level that addresses isolation of our elders, specifically targeting the adult incapacitated that are in a conservatorship or guardianship that are being abused. Isolated.
Tell us about your personal journey and how.
My personal journey. My father's second wife, when my father became incapacitated, isolated my dad from my sister and I, so we couldn't see him after his hip surgery. And my sister and I were really upset. And so then I had to go to court and spend close to $100,000 just to see my dad, to say goodbye to him. And it was really traumatizing. And I just turned to my attorney at that point in 2009 and said, we need to draft some legislation and do something, because it's crazy to have to come into court and spend $100,000 just to ask to see your parent and say goodbye, It wasn't about the will. It wasn't about, once somebody's incapacitated, you can't challenge a will anyway. And so that was not even on the table. It was just about having the right to see your parent before they die.
Wow.
So what's this journey been like for you in forging ahead this legislation? And you're doing it on your own time, as far as I know.
Yes, I pay out of my own pocket. I don't take money. I don't take donations. I spend my own money on this. I've partnered with a national organization, a really reputable national organization, and they take a little bit of donations. So sometimes they'll fly me places, but I have spent a lot of my own money doing this. But anyway, it's been an amazing journey because it's healing. I don't mourn my father. I celebrate his life through my legacy with the legislation and my dad's name, and it's really nice.
It's interesting. Imagine you're out there. Imagine your parents ill and they're with somebody or whatever in a situation where someone in their life decides you aren't able to come see your parent.
It happens a lot because divorce is so rampant in our country, right?
Yeah.
Mickey Rooney's 8 marriages and 8 kids, and it was total chaos,
You just don't think about it. It's something you don't even think about.
No, you just don't. As a child, you're never prepared to not have access to your parent. It's not like my dad said, I don't want to see my kids or keep them away. It was never like that. And had it been like that, I would never have pursued legal action, I wouldn't have done anything. I would have respected my dad's wishes.
Wow. Interesting.
So are there places in the world that serve as positive models for us in terms of the laws and sort of legislation around elderly care and things of that nature, or
there's not enough legislation? It's pretty desolate in that way. I was kind of shocked that you have to pass legislation to enforce the obvious, right? It's shocking to me that you have to come to that.
Yeah, to try to legislate morality.
It's outrageous.
Yeah.
It's just outrageous.
I would imagine this is an incredible, difficult journey, but what is the hardest part for you in forging ahead this legislation? Because it seems so obvious. Of course, a child should have access and rights to their parents. What is the difficulty?
I think what's the most difficult thing for me is all the cases that we get that come to us where people are 6 feet under in quicksand sinking and we can't save them when they're already in the probate system and trying to gain access to a loved one. And again, it's not just child to parent, it's anybody that can be deemed incapacitated. Somebody at 45 in a motorcycle accident could lose rights, and the probate court would basically assign a public guardian to that person. If that person, doesn't have, power of attorney put in place and successors and all that kind of stuff.
It brings me to the point of say you had joint custody of a child. There's laws and things that are formulated that have worked through this for so long.
You would think, yeah.
Yeah, and you would think, and it's interesting because we have a lot of elderly people. I mean,
a lot. With a lot of money.
Yeah, so it's an interesting time. So thank you for leading this. So where would you like to see it go?
Federal. I have a sponsor now in California, and I have a lot of co-sponsors. And right now we're in the phase of drafting with federal legislators. It has to go federal. It really does, because it's not enough. We're going state to state, and we're getting a lot of good response, but then we get a lot of opposition. So if federal would just be a better oversight.
And what's fascinating is that you're a marathoner. You go, and this is probably the greatest marathon you're running right now.
It is. It is. It's a triathlon, actually. Yeah. I do a lot of triathlons.
Sorry, triathlon.
Yeah.
I don't know the difference.
I look at life like every start line has a finish line, and I'm always trying to get to the finish line.
Right.
That's my life.
What do you think? What personality trait or characteristic has sort of borne the most fruit for you in this journey? Is it persistence?
Relentless. I'm
relentless?
absolutely relentless and courageous to do this because I come up against a lot of opposition, and you have to fight lobbyists and organizations that, I mean, I go up and I testify against huge organizations that have, it's like the NRA, right? Huge money, and I have to beat them. I mean, I have to, and I'm on the right side of the law. I know that, so I feel that's the justice in it all.
Incredible.
Wow.
So inspiring. My
What a
goodness.
badass.
Start to question what you're doing with your life, you know?
Your father obviously has an incredible legacy, and you are helping it live on. What is the maybe one thing that you really learned from him? That
My dad always taught me that if you can't climb the wall and you can't walk through it, there's always a way around the wall. You can go to the left, to the right, but you have to get through that wall no matter what. Climb it somehow, but never give up and just be relentless in your pursuit.
Right.
And my dad was that way. My dad always found a way.
Well, just one more thing. We want to say thank you so much for all
I
your work.
appreciate you having me. Yeah, thank you
Yeah,
very
yeah.
much.
Tell people how they can get involved.
They can come to my organization at Catherine Falk, organization.org, and also National Association to Stop Guardian Abuse, and just write to us and talk to us. And we're also on Facebook too.
Thank you.
Thank you. I really
Relentless.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.